Right. We are live on Facebook now.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Let's Talk of Sickle Cell session. Please, do you have a? I see. Yes.
Hello, Naomi. We could hear you.
Welcome to today's edition of Let's Talk Sickle Cell Disease, and our topic for today is sickle cell and relationship or marriage. So for our today's panelists, we have Dr. Asari, Dr. Ekwia Asari. We have Mr. Atta Samuel, and we also have Captain Amwa and Madrona. I don't know whether our panelists are available now, but I have Mr. Samuel here with me. Kindly introduce yourself to our people.
Okay, my name is Mr. Samuelata, and I'm married to a precious lady who is living with sickle cell.
Dr. Asari.
Dr. Danso, please.
Kindly introduce yourself to our people online.
Wonderful. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ekwia Danso. I am a physician, psychiatrist by training, and I am married to a man who lives with sickle cell. Looking forward to having a good discussion today.
Thank you very much. I'm not sure our other panelists are available, but we'll begin with our session with those who are available now. When the others join, we'll ask them to introduce themselves, and then they'll also join us in discussion. So my question would be for Mr. Samuel Atta. I'd like to ask you. Okay. So my first question will be to Mr. Samuel Atta, and my question is, in general, how difficult is it in your relationship or marriage living with someone with a condition, sickle cell disease?
Okay, thank you very much for the question. I think a person living with sickle cell disease comes with a lot of challenges. That is the crisis, taking care of, giving the care to such a one. But I believe when you as an individual, when you know about the condition, you knowing the person that you are living with, the crisis that she goes through, and the right and appropriate care you need to give to that individual, I think you'll be halfway through in solving some of the problem. Though it's challenging, but you knowing about the condition of the person and also knowing the right things to do goes a long way of helping. Yeah.
Dr. Asari, I'll still pose the question to you.
Please, Danso. Danso.
Ekwia Danso.
Yes.
Can you please answer our question to us? In general, how difficult is it to be in a relationship or to be married to someone living with sickle cell disease?
So before I answer the question, I think it's important that we just kind of clarify why we're here today. I know the topic is marriage and relationships, but I think that someone who lives with sickle cell, well, if we look at the history, right, for the longest time, people who lived with sickle cell weren't thought to be capable of getting married and of being in relationships because they passed away when they were very young. And with the advancements in medicine and science and research, we're seeing that individuals are living longer. And so they have now the capacity, the wherewithal, and the duration of lifespan to have relationships and to engage and to have children, et cetera, et cetera. And it's also important that we tell families who have children who have sickle cell that it's not a terminal illness, and that the children can live and have fulfilling lives, right? And so with that as a background to answer your question, is it difficult or is it more difficult? Because that's a difference, right? So which one is it?
Is it more difficult?
Okay. I would say that is a question that's really hard for me to answer, because all relationships have their own particular issues and complexities, right? I do think that sickle cell may have more difficulties. A marriage or relationship where one partner has sickle cell may have more difficulties than another relationship. However, I cannot fully say that it is much more different than other relationships, because the bottom line is every relationship is going to have its issues. And if you are married or in a relationship with someone who has a chronic medical illness, it's going to be difficult. But if you're in a relationship with someone who has chronic mental health issues, it's going to be difficult. And if you're in a relationship with somebody who has behavioral things, it's going to be difficult. So I cannot sit here and equivocally say, yes, it is more difficult to have a relationship with somebody who has sickle cell, because sickle cell is a condition and so many other people have conditions and it affects the relationship.
Okay, thank you very much for the enlightenment. My next question will be to you again.
Oh.
My question is, describe how you live, or how do you live with someone living with sickle cell disease? Do you have to dictate to the person what he or she has to do, or you encourage the person to do what he or she wants to do?
You live with them as a human
being. If you have, sorry?
No, go ahead, so I can fully grasp the nature of the question.
Okay, so my question is, how do you live with your partner who is living with sickle cell disease?
Mm-hmm. You live with a great deal of patience. And you live with a kindness. I would say you live with a kindness, compassion, and curiosity. That's how you live with someone who has sickle cell, because the kindness is necessary for how you treat them as you use the compassion, right? So you have compassion for this person who you already love. So love is already there, right? But then there's this element of compassion, which is acknowledging that they're going through so much every single day that they can't always express. They don't know how to express. They're living with trauma. They're living with the grief. There's so much grief for individuals who have sickle cell, because there's always in the back of their mind this concept of, will I make it? How long will I live? Will I be around to see my children? Of the opportunities they have lost, and of the possible opportunities they may lose and of what they're losing right now. So there has to be a compassion that you have, right? That covers what is happening. And then there's also the kindness to be able to see when they're trying, to see when they're shifting, to see when you've had a conversation about something, you've had a conversation or a disagreement or a clarification, and you see that they're trying to make an effort, they're trying to change, they're trying to accommodate, they're trying to understand themselves. So you have that kindness. And I would also say curiosity, because from what I've learned, people who live with sickle cell have been taught, the illness and the people around them have taught them to hold things in, to be very internal, and to be right here, to go this way instead of this way. And so a lot of it is understanding that you have to ask questions and you have to wonder, what are they, what are you thinking? You may have to ask more questions. You may have to, but that kindness, that compassion, and that curiosity, I think, will take you a very long way. And lastly, you have to have that for yourself as well. Because although you're together in this relationship, they have agency and you have agency. And so a lot of it, I think, has to do with you also learning about yourself, learning about your needs, learning about your desires and your wants, and not automatically trying to cater to them all the time, because they are in this relationship as well, and they have roles to play. And so you're not a mother, you're not a father, you're a partner, you're a collaborator. And that's two very different mindsets.
Thank you very much. Mr. Atta, how do you live with your partner living with the condition?
Okay, thank you very much, my dear. So I will put it in these two categories, as Dr. Danso has elaborated so well. You have to live with such a person with understanding and encouragement. First of all, you understand that that individual is in a different world altogether. Though that individual will be a human being, or he's a human being as you are, but he or she is in a different world altogether, of which you have to learn as a partner to understand that individual. So when you understand him or her very well, the territory in which she is, then you will learn to encourage her in whatsoever that she does. Though it may not be up to your standard, as you rightly said, Dr. Danso, you are not in as a mother, you are not in as a father, you are in as a partner. So you are going to just collaborate with the person, understand her in times of crisis, understand her in times of mood swings, in times of pain, in times of I don't have appetite to eat. And that encouragement have to be there. That encouragement have to be there. You supporting that individual to get to that stage that you desire to see that person. So in a brief, that is how I'll put that question. That is in understanding the individual and also being there for the individual, encouraging the individual, and also to help the person achieve whatever thing that is set before him. I think Dr. Danso rightly said it. This kind of sickness puts that individual in a cage of you can't do anything for yourself. You are handicapped because you have an age limit to live. But because of science and technology that have elaborate things for us to know that the individual can go further, can go more than the prescribed age, you as an individual living with him or her as a partner will have to help such a one to achieve whatever thing that is set before him or her. And all boils down to you as a partner encouraging the person. Sometimes the person feels so worthless, so down. It's not worth it because I have this number of years that is set or put in a mindset for that individual to live. But you as a partner, learning the individual's ways and also knowing how to live with her will encourage her that come what may, you have to get to that place. And I believe it's really, really going to take time, but you have to be there and encourage the person to get to that high pinnacle. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I would like to point out whether other speakers are on with us now. This is Captain Amwa here.
Madonna is on.
Hello, Madonna.
Yes.
Kindly introduce yourself to us and then continue from there.
Okay, I'm Madonna, a carer. On the page, I'm Royal Diadem.
Okay. Okay, so thank you for joining us today. So my question for you is, do you make decision for your family member or the person living with sickle cell disease?
All right, thank you. And this situation, there's no need making decision for them unless the person is young, maybe below 18. With that, you can try to make certain decisions, but it's not about restricting them. No, you don't restrict them. You make decisions that will help them live life to the fullest. But if they are of age, all you need to do is to educate them as to what to do, what not to do. It's not like you have to make concrete decisions like it should be static. No, you don't do that. Let them explore. There are times they may do something that they themselves will feel like, let's say they are playing or they want to go swimming. And you are like, no, it's not there. You don't have to go swimming because of the temperature of the water is too cold for you. And the child insists, well, you can let them try it. If they try it and they realize that, no, this wouldn't help, they tend to now come to terms with you as to why you ask them not to do it in the first place. So to me, it's not about making decisions for them. It's about giving them education on what to do and what not to do, or what is best for them. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. Mr. Atta, Samuel, I want to ask you, do you make decisions for your partner because he or she is living with sickle cell disease?
Okay, thank you very much. I think in this question, you as an individual, you don't make decision. I think I said something, you asked the question, and when Dr. Danso just gave the elaboration, I look at it from 2 points of view. You understanding the individual that you are living with and also encouraging that person. So you understanding this individual who is in his or her own world and encouraging that person. You don't first of all make decisions, strict decisions, as Madam Madonna said, for that individual. So you can also suggest. Sometimes the decision that individual made, we are humans and we have our flaws, we have are shortcomings, that individual will think that, oh, that decision is best. So you as a partner living with such an individual, you suggest things to him or her. You suggest things to him or her. And if you see that her decision or his decision is not going to help solve that situation or that problem, you are going to convince that individual to buy into your idea or your suggestion that you have given to that person, so that together you solve whatever problem at stake and you move on. So that's my take on that.
Okay. Mrs. Danso, please, are you here with us?
I'm right here. I haven't left.
Oh, okay. So I'm posing the same question to you. Because let's say a person living with sickle cell, you'd be like, oh, you're supposed to do this so that you'll be healthy. So don't do this, don't do that. Do you have to impose it on the person, make decision for the person, or you would love to either encourage the person to do the right thing?
The person is a human being with their own free will and their own ability to make decisions. 1. 2, that person knows their illness the best. That person knows how sickle cell manifests in their body. That person's been living with sickle cell and the condition longer than you have. That person is the expert on their own body. So you, as a human being with your own free will, you don't determine how they live their life. You don't tell them what to do. You engage in a conversation and you ask them, how are you? What's your process? How do you think? How do you know your body? And you learn them as they are learning themselves. And you collaborate in having the discussions. There might be things that you know that you can bring up as suggestions, but you don't suggest things until you know what they've already done, how they've lived. Because again, they are the expert on their own illness and their own condition. And they're a human being. Just because they have sickle cell doesn't mean they don't know themselves. And so if I were to be with someone who doesn't have sickle cell, I wouldn't treat them like a child. I wouldn't tell them, you have to do this, you have to do that. So why would I do that with somebody who has sickle cell?
Okay, thank you very much. Island Captain is here with us. Captain Amwa.
Hello, I'm here.
Okay. Welcome.
Thank you very much. I was having issues with my network, but I've managed to join.
Okay, thank you very much too for coming. And I would like to ask you to introduce yourself to our people online.
Okay, I'm Captain Anita Amwa, a critical care nurse at 37 Military Hospital Intensive Care Unit. I'm married to a sickle cell.
Okay, thank you very much. So my question for you is, do you include your partner in decision making?
In decision making, as in decision concerning his health or anything?
Concerning his health, family-wise, everything.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Just like it was said earlier, he is the one with a condition. Okay, so every decision that you make, you have to take into consideration your partner's feelings. Okay, and then how he is going to take it. So you bring whatever decision you have made on board, and then you sit down and elaborate with him. That is how best you can, so that he can also, add his views and all that, so that you can come out with a brilliant idea or a brilliant decision on what to do in terms of your kids, their schools, your finances, the health, you know, the entire house, what you want to do, everything. There's no way you can take a decision without your partner. So I definitely include him in everything. Moreover, he's the head of the family.
Okay, thank you very much.
Well,
Madonna,
Yes.
okay, since
Yeah.
you are living with your son who is
Mhm.
having the condition,
Yeah.
do you include him in your decision making, or you just decide or make decisions for him? Because
No.
you are the mom and you have to make sure he's always fine.
He's young though, in as much as he's young, less than 4 years. But still, there are some decisions that I include him. It's not everything that I can include him because he's too young to take decisions for himself. So in this case, I don't always include him in the decision making, if only it's going to help him. That's what I do. But if it's for, we are going to the hospital, okay, we are going for a checkup. Your checkup date is due, so we are going today, and then fine. Otherwise, there are some decisions I don't include in. But if it's for us to go for a review and all that, I let him know that tomorrow we'll be going for a review. We are going to see the doctor. So when we get there, he's not surprised, or he's okay. He cooperates with the doctor and whatever it is that whatever it is that will be done for him. That's what I do.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Samuel Arthur, do you include your partner in decision making?
Yes, I think it's very, very important whenever decisions are being made as a partner living with a person with sickle cell disease. It's very, very important because as I've said early on, that well, and Dr. Danso rightly hit it on the nail, that you must learn that individual as he or she learns from himself, because he or she have lived with this disease for so many years. He goes through pains that you have no idea of. So it's very paramount that you include that individual in decision making. Other than that, there wouldn't be that peace, there wouldn't be that understanding, even in marriage, even in relationship, and even as a family, there wouldn't be that peace. And I believe we all know, obviously, that if there is no peace, if there's no understanding, the necessary things or the things that must be done won't be done and wouldn't be done well. So it's very, very important that we include your partner in decision making. Yeah, that's my take on that.
Okay, thank you. Ekuadan, so I'm back to you. How often do you ask your partner when making decisions that affect? Hello.
I'm here. I'm just on
Okay.
mute, but I'm here. I've been here the whole time.
How often do you ask your partner for their opinion when you're making decisions that affect them?
Always. Unless it's something that I already know about. Like,
Oh,
if I know that he likes this particular cuisine, right? This particular food. I already know that. So if I'm going to order something, I already know he's gonna enjoy that. So then I know I don't need to ask him what necessarily he wants, because I already have an idea. He wants this fried rice or this or that. So in that case, like, I already know. But if you're looking at like large scale decisions, I always talk with him.
okay. Okay. Captain Amwa.
Sam here.
Okay. So my next question for you is your partner your top priority in the family setting? Because
Most
he's living with a
definitely.
condition. So is he your top priority?
The most of everything. He is. He comes first in every decision, every step, everything that I do. I think about him first before going forward.
No, okay. So why should he be the priority? Though you have kids and other people around you.
As I said earlier on, he is the head of the family, okay? So being the head of the family makes him the number one choice in everything that you do. And also, I don't want to say since he is vulnerable, but then in everything that I do, I make sure that he is safe, he is well, let's say well protected, well understanding before I move on. So that is how come. I make
So
sure he's comfortable with every decision that I take and all that. I don't want to do anything aside what he's not comfortable with.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Madonna,
Yes, I'm here.
I'm posing the same question to you.
Okay. My son is my topmost priority. That's one. It's a conk. Like, if not for my, let's say my own mistake, perhaps he wouldn't have been in that situation. So in everything I do, I prioritize him. Everything I prioritize him. He is my topmost priority at the moment.
Okay. If you don't mind, I want to ask, don't you have other kids apart from him?
No. At the moment, he's the only kid I have.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's the only kid I have, so he's my topmost priority. And even if I have other kids, he will still be my topmost priority.
And so my next question is, if he will be your priority, then what about the others? Because I think
they would be part of my priorities, but he will be my topmost. I mean,
and
we
don't
have
you think
priorities,
the
but
others don't you think the
of
others
course,
will be jealous or something?
I would try as much as possible to let them understand why he is my topmost priority. You understand? So that there wouldn't be any form of jealousy or enmity between them. I'll just let them understand why he is my topmost priority. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. Mr. Samuel Atta, how do you go about things your partner doesn't like? Everything in general, food, way of doing things, everything. How
Okay, my take on this one will still boil down to the point of, first of all, understanding this individual that you are living with. Sometimes you wake up in the morning, breakfast, what will you eat? Oh, I don't feel like eating. And you know that if you don't eat at a certain time, maybe she may complain or he may complain that, oh, I'm feeling stomach ache, I'm weak, I'm feeling dizzy here and there. But since the appetite is not there, as an individual, you must understand her. And even I said something earlier on that you have to suggest certain things and convince this person to buy into that idea of the problem at hand or an issue at hand so that you can solve it. I think that is the only idea I have on this one for now. I think the other panelists can add more to it. Yeah.
Dr. Asari.
I'm always here. Go ahead.
The question, I want you to answer that question for me, the same question.
The one about the priority, or
No, the one about the things they don't like. Do you convince him to like some things, or since the person doesn't like it, the person doesn't like it, so you just allow the person to.
do you have an example of what you're thinking about when you say that?
Oh, example, maybe the person has to eat, but the person is not feeling for food. That person doesn't have appetite.
Mhm.
And you also expect the person to eat at some time, at a particular time, appetite, so I'll not eat. What will you do?
Mhm.
Better still, let's come to health wise. Let's say the person is supposed to take a medication, and the person is like, oh, as for this medicine, I don't want to take it.
Mhm. Okay,
I don't want to take it. So
got you. So it's a conversation, right? If they don't have an appetite, then you ask them, will they take a smoothie? Or will they eat something else? Or maybe, drink some water. It's, you don't force them. You're not a prison warden. You're not a jailer. You don't force them. So what you do is you just have a conversation about alternatives. And ask them what's happening with them that they don't want to do that. If they have to take their medication, if he has to take his meds and he doesn't want to take his meds, and the question I ask is, hey, what's going on? Is something happening that you feel like you don't want to take your meds? I'm not telling them what to do. I'm trying to understand what's happening with them in that moment that they don't want to, because that's what you have to get at. You have to get at what is their motivation, what is their intention, how are they experiencing it, to best know how to have the conversation, right?
yeah.
And if you allow me, I would like to, I had something to say about that question about priority, and mine is
Okay.
different from everybody else. My husband is not my priority. My marriage is,
Okay.
and that is a difference. Because my marriage is the priority, it means that when it comes to being emotionally well, the marriage cannot grow if I'm not growing and he's not growing. You feel me? You're the only people I
Yeah.
can see. Nobody else has their camera on. So I don't know if anybody is even listening or anything.
I'm here.
But all right, Captain.
Yeah.
So he's not my priority. The marriage is the priority. And there's a difference, because if he's my priority, then I can tell myself that I can disregard my feelings. I can disregard my thoughts. I can disregard my needs and my wants and my desires. That's not what marriage is about. Because the marriage is a priority, I want him to grow just as I am growing. So if there are things that I need in the marriage and I need in the relationship, then we have the conversation and I say, hey, I think for this relationship to be healthy, we both need to be in healthy places. Because a marriage, the success of the marriage is not dependent upon me. The success of the marriage is dependent on both of us. I don't carry this marriage. He doesn't carry the marriage. So for me, the priority is the marriage and having a healthy relationship. And that means I need to be healthy as well as him, and we need to be healthy together.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm trying to rile it up a little bit, get the people engaged and involved.
Very insightful. Please, Captain, your next question is, do you think your partner has special needs and ought to be treated special?
Yes, he does. He usually have, I hope you can hear me.
Yes, please.
Okay. So he has special needs in terms of let's say the setup in the house and all that. Well, not to go into so much details. One, he has a hearing defect, whereby he uses a hearing aid. Because of that, communicating with him, it's a bit difficult. You need to be closer and you need to speak out. So most of the times I advise or I suggest to him, instead of talking so much on the phone, maybe let's do texting. So he'll be there when I say something once, twice, thrice, and he's not hearing me, I send a text. You understand? And then at times too in the room, he's not so used to covering himself when he's sleeping. In as much as there are blankets and all that, he preferred to sleep naked. So I made the room a bit warm. Or better still, I'll leave the room for him to sleep and then go and sleep with the kids. So he has a lot of, special needs. He doesn't wear full shoe. I made sure that all the half shoes are ready for him to wear it, and send to work. So, I mean, that is what I do.
Okay. Madonna.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. Do you think your son has special needs and needs special treatment?
Special needs, yes. That is with his clothing. He always needs to be in something, depending on how the weather is. So I'm always conscious about what he puts on, just so that where it wouldn't be like he's feeling too cold, he's feeling too warm. So when it comes to his clothing, that is where I see the specialty. And then he's eating too. He's not someone he likes to eat, but there are times he eats in bits, like he doesn't eat a whole meal at a go. He eats in bits. He'll eat a little, go, come back and eat. But when he goes to school, he's able to finish his meal. So when he comes home, those are the because of that, when he's going to school, we try to give him enough food, because looks like because there are other kids in school that are eating, he sees them, he looks up to them, and then he eats his everything that he sent to school. So when it comes to that, we give him that special kind of treatment. So that's what I do for him.
Okay. So
Yes, madam.
do you give your partner the special treatment because you think he needs it? He needs that special treatment.
I give him special treatment because I love him. The one I love, I give special treatment to. I don't give him special treatment because he's less than. I don't give him special treatment because he's disadvantaged. I give him special treatment because I love him and he's worthy and deserving of special treatment. So if he needs something that I can provide, then that's what I'll do, because we're in it together. And I know that if there was something I needed, he would also do it. And that's marriage. And I just want to say real quick that I think for the people who are on this call, I hope they're understanding that while there are specifics to living with being married to someone who has sickle cell, a lot of this is also just the state of being married. And when you're married to someone, if they have special needs and you can provide and fulfill it, you do that, right? So what some of this stuff that we're talking about is not specific to sickle cell, but it's specific to being married and being loved and in love with that person. Because marriage is a space where you address the disadvantages, the issues, the concerns in yourself, right? So when you meet this person, you're attracted to them, but then you begin to realize, hey, Charlie, wait here, this person, I don't know, because he does this and I do this. And then you start wondering, are we supposed to be doing this? Because this is hard, okay? Marriage is not easy, people. Let me help you out. In general, marriage is not easy. But part of the process of being married in the special treatment is acknowledging the places of hurt that the person has experienced. You know, I think Mr. Atta has already spoken about this. My friend Samuel, my son Samuel, has already spoken about this, that you recognize that that person has specific things going on in their lives from having sickle cell. And in psychiatry, we call it psychic wounds or psychic insults. There are places of pain that we all have when we come into a relationship, and we get triggered by things that our partner does, and it takes us back to our childhood, to our adolescence. And those unhealed wounds, part of what marriage does is it helps heal them. So if the person comes to you and they're triggered by something you've done and you don't understand it, and you're like, well, I didn't mean to, it's because they're being triggered. They're feeling a negative emotional reaction from something that happened in the past. And part of what you're doing as special treatment is acknowledging that this is a space of pain for that person. So I tread lightly, and maybe the way I engage with that person is different because of that psychic wound. So yes, you give them special treatment in that sense because you're helping them to heal and you're facilitating a healing process, just like your partner is facilitating a healing process in you. And through that, those psychic insults, those injuries, those triggers begin to get mitigated and they calm down. So both of you can love each other in the way that you need to be loved.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Samuel, do you think a person has special needs and ought to be treated specially?
Yes, I think so. I think so. So I said something from the beginning that this individual is in his own world, in her own world, and you understanding and encourage such an individual helps in marriage, also helps in the relationship that, or even in the family that you find yourself. So such an individual living in a different world. Yes, he's a human being, she's a human being. There have to be that room for you to and to that needs of that individual. So that is the little that I can add to it. I think Dr. Danso have said it all in that regard.
I'm not trying to say it all. I'm just trying to spur some conversation and bring some different, perspectives and understandings about marriage, because I really think that, especially in our cultural background, there are so many things about marriage that people assume, oh, this is just the way it is. And it's like, no, this is not just the way it is. There are reasons behind what we do. And part of being married is learning about each other's reasons and growing together and having the hard conversations. It's not just a lean back and it's gonna be okay. Marriage is work. It's work for you. Yes, Captain. And it's work for the other person. You have your own issues and your drama and your trauma. And the fact that you're not a nice person all the time and you have needs and desires, and that person needs to address them too. So, Chale, marriage is work. It's worth it, but it demands your entire being.
Yeah.
And I would say that marriagehood and parenthood are both hoods that demand your 100%. If you give 50%, it will not go well for you.
Yeah.
You know? So both of you have to be in it to win it.
Yeah.
Let me lean back.
Mr. Samuel, do you think sickle cell disease has a major impact on how you relate with your partner?
The question again, I didn't hear.
I said, do you think sickle cell disease has a major impact on how you relate with your partner?
I don't get this question very well. So
Me too.
somebody can take it from there. Then, well, based on that understanding, I can take it from there.
I'm also not getting it.
Captain.
Okay.
Yeah. My question is, do you think SCD, sickle cell disease, has a major impact on how you relate with your partner?
Has a major impact on how I relate with my partner.
Yes, please.
I'm not getting the question real. Like how, because of the sickle cell, has it have any effect on the way I relate with him?
Yes, please.
Well, because he's my husband, I seem to have a soft spot for him in everything that he does, you know. When growing up, okay, when I started my nursing career, strangely, anytime I go for clinicals and all, I get attracted to sickle cell patients on the ward. The way I relate to them, the way I talk to them, especially the younger ones, and then their parents, you know, and those who are a bit old that you can communicate very well with them. I speak with them, I encourage them and all that. So when my husband came along, I mean, I wasn't surprised. I was able to build on it and then, you know, do more. I'm able to exercise, or let's say, demonstrate the love that I have on him. The love is so much that, you know, he becomes, I don't want Dr. Nancy to say it's the marriage, but I mean, he as an individual has become my topmost priority in everything that I do. I don't want to do anything that will jeopardize his health or that will bring him down. No. I always make sure I go the extra mile when it comes to him. So that is it.
Since you mentioned my name, Captain, let me toss something in there for you.
Yeah, I know the marriage is part, Doctor, but
I see. For me, I think it's a clarity of prioritization, right? Which means that in order for the marriage to be healthy and whole, I have to be healthy and whole. He has to be healthy and whole. But it also involves making sure that he is also well in what I can do, right? So it's two parts. It's making sure that I am well, he making sure that he is well, but also him seeing to me and me seeing to him.
Okay.
You see, so because if those two parts aren't involved, the whole marriage will fall apart. You get an imbalance because it's not just, it's also about, of course I have to take care of him. Of course there are certain things that he needs. Of course I'm gonna go the extra mile for him.
What about me?
And it's not a but, it's an and. And I also have to address myself because if I am always down, if I am depressed, right? So let me give you an example about me personally. I am an empath, which means that I sense people's emotions. And for years, decades, people, I don't even know them. They'll just come up to me and start talking. And I sense their emotions. I can sense where people are. I can sense small, minute changes in their tone, right? So what I used to do is I would take on the entirety of somebody else's wahala to the point that I couldn't deal with my own. And so I couldn't live my life and I couldn't be healthy because I was carrying somebody else's burden when they didn't tell me to carry it.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to be healthy for them and for me. So when I talk about the marriage and I'm talking about being healthy for you and for them, if you are not healthy, if you are sick, it's very hard to help somebody else. You can do it, but it's really hard. So what I'm advocating for is for, if you're married, for you to also make sure that there's a healthiness to you and there's a healthiness for him, and then vice versa. I hope that clarifies it.
Sure.
Okay. Madonna,
I'm here.
please, do you have anything to add to what has been said already?
Oh, I think they've said it all. And all I can say is, yes, my son being a sickle cell has a great impact in how I relate to him. Yeah, because it's like I've developed some kind of extra love for him. I don't know, maybe if I have other kids, I will know very well if truly, truly the extra love is there or not. Yeah.
So, you again, you're going to answer this question. So when there is a conflict of interest, how do you address it?
Conflict
Yourself,
of
and then
interest as in,
maybe you want him to do something, but he also doesn't want to do that, all that. Because from what I've heard from some parents, like, okay, I want mine because of your condition, I want you to
yeah.
go a particular lane, as in the field of education, career, and all that. But maybe that child to be like, no, I don't want to do what you want me to be, but I want to be something else.
Okay. All right. It has been my headache all this while, even though he hasn't gotten to anywhere. But I have my own intentions for him. In any case, I'll just present it to him. If he's fine with it, that's it. If he's not fine and he chooses any other path, it's his life. He's a human being. He has to decide for himself. I can't always decide for him. You understand? The fact that he's a sickle cell doesn't make him less of a human. So I'll present mine to him. And then if he's okay with this, he goes that way. If he's not okay with him and he has any other, I will support him. That's it. But I can't tell him that at all costs you need to go according to what I'm saying. No, he has the opportunity to choose what he wants to do. I cannot choose for him.
Mr. Samuel,
Okay.
what do you have to say about conflicts of interest? How do you address it?
Okay. So with this question, we see two things here. We see conflict and interest. The conflict comes as a result of that disagreement. Both of you not agreeing on something. So I will still go back to the foundation that I laid as you understanding that individual from the world in which he or she lives. And first of all, ask him or her, why is it that you don't want to go this suggested way? This way that I've suggested to you, as we already talked about. So when he gives his or her explanation, what he or she is saying concerning the problem at hand, then you pick it from there, learning from him or her, you pick it from her, then you take it from there. Now, if still understanding hasn't prevailed or understanding is not prevailing, then what he or she want to do, looking at it, is it the best for him? Is it the best for her? If it is the best, then what I will encourage you to do is just give that support. to make sure the person achieves whatever thing that is set before him.
Ikea,
Talk to me, Mama.
your point of view on the same topic question. Sorry.
On conflict, it's really important when conflict arises to clarify what's at the bottom of the conflict in a marriage, right? Because
Yeah.
let's say, classic example that many women say is, you know, the laundry bin is right here. Why is it you always drop your clothes next to the laundry bin when the laundry bin is right here? I mean, I didn't. Do you not have eyes? Is, you know, and it becomes a situation, right? And so now you're having this conflict, and he's like, "Oh, diamond, leave me. You can just put it in there." It's going right, and now it's back and forth. But that's not the actual conflict. The conflict is from, maybe she's saying, "I am providing for us, so help me make the house better. Be there for me." And he's thinking, his conflict is, "I'm independent. I can do what I want." So you see what's really going on is that there's in all marital conflict, there's the superficial, and then there's what's underlying it. There's always something beneath it about, and it has to do with the need of the individual. So let me say this concisely. Every conflict is a reflection of an unresolved and unfulfilled need. So it's important to understand that. And once you get that, your next step is to ask yourself, what's my need? What do I need in this moment? And this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. It takes time and practice and understanding. It doesn't just come immediately. But once you realize that every conflict has an unresolved need and desire at the bottom, then you have to figure out, what is that unresolved need? What is that unresolved desire? And that takes a long time, and it takes self-awareness. So to help out, let me give an example. Like, if there's something that he has said that I don't like how he said it, his tone or whatever, and I feel myself like getting angry and wanting to retort in a negative tone, I actually go, and inside my head, I go, okay, Kuya Janua, what's going on with you? What's happening with you? Why are you feeling this way? And I have to, or maybe it's because I'm feeling like I haven't had enough quality time, or I'm feeling that we're distant. There's something inside me that I have to address. And then from there, it's much easier to talk to him about the conflict, right? And at the same time, it's that self-awareness, and it's going to involve conversation. So there's this self-awareness of what's happening with me. Why am I feeling the way I'm feeling? What's going on? What do I need? And then talking to him and asking the questions. Like, my son was saying, what's going on with you? What's happening with you? Where are you coming from? Because I want to understand you, because at the end of the day, we're on the same team. It's not you versus me. It's you and me versus the we versus the world, right? And it can be really easy when you're having conflict, actually, to see your partner as the enemy. And you have to always keep in mind, your partner is not your enemy. I could say more. I'm gonna stop.
Captain, is Captain on here with us?
She's there.
Captain, please unmute.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I said I was
Yeah.
enjoying what Dr. Danso was saying. Yeah.
Okay, so
So I mean, she said a whole lot, okay, with having a conversation with whatever conflict of interest it is. Sit down with a person, um, whatever the problem is, bring it on board. Let's discuss. If it's okay, fine, let's go with it. If you think it's going to drag issues, what I do the most is to sit back and watch. I do that a lot. I sit back after saying it over or after having a conversation about it over and over and over and over again. I sit back and I watch. At times I watch him and he succeeds. At times he fails and come back and said, "Hey, what can you? I should have listened to you," or something. And then you say, you know that thing. Yes. So it happens from time to time. We have a conversation, we discuss it. If it's not working, you sit back, you watch. If it works, fine. If it doesn't, let's go for plan B. That's what I do.
okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Madonna,
I'm here.
my question to you is as let's assume that STD is not in the picture, your son is not living with a condition. How different will your relationship be with him?
It will be on a normal grounds.
Yeah.
He doesn't have STD. He doesn't need extra care. There's no need going the extra mile for him. So it will be on a normal level, as in a mother and a son relationship kind of. But with STD, because of the extra whatever regular hospital visits and all that, it gives it makes me do the extra, like go the extra for him. But if he was a normal, like if he didn't have STD, it would have been okay, like just on a normal level of mother-child relationship.
Okay. Mr. Samuel, how different will your relationship be? Assuming your partner is not living with STD.
Okay, thank you very much. Whilst our sister Madonna was talking, a whole lot of thoughts were just boiling up in my head. We will all say we just have a normal point of view that you being in a relationship or in marriage or in a family, or you being a caregiver for someone living with sickle life disease, it's a school on its own. It molds you as an individual. Dr. Dr. Danso rightly said it, that you as an individual, you have to what? Learn whilst you learn from your partner living with the disease. So I would say if sickle cell disease is not in the picture, we would have lived a normal life. But since it is in the picture, I fully embrace it as a new world for you to learn, to look at other alternatives, for you to upgrade yourself to the best school in the whole world.
Ikea, please, your perception on that question.
If sickle cell was not in the picture, it would be something else.
Okay.
You know, I wouldn't say that it would be normal because I have no idea what other situation would be there. There could be some other situation. There's always going to be something you have to deal with in a marriage. Always. Maybe his family could be horrible people, which thank God they're not. They're beautiful people, but maybe that would be the issue. So I couldn't say it's normal because I have no idea what the issues are that he would be bringing into the picture. So it would be whatever that situation is.
Okay. So my last question to all my panelists. Has it ever crossed your mind that you might lose your partner? If yes, how do you deal with having STD?
I think there was a transmission, so I couldn't get the whole question very well. I heard the latter part, so if you can say it again.
Okay, my question is, has it ever crossed your mind that you might lose your partner at any time? And if yes, how do you deal with the anxiety that comes with it?
Can I answer that? Let me start. As a nurse and as a critical care nurse as such, I have seen a lot of them. I've lost a lot of patients, female, males, and all that, babies, young adults, children, different categories of SCD patients. And at times I tell you, the anxiety is that high. Okay. I used to, we used to joke about it a lot, my husband and I. He usually says, so if I die, what will you do? I said, oh, immediately you die, I'll marry again. And he said, hey, then I'm not dying, I'm not dying. You marry me. We'll die together, you understand? we make fun of it. We make fun of it. But when I'm quiet and I'm alone, it really gets to me, especially when I lose a patient like that on the ward. I come home and then I'll be staring at him. I'll be thinking in my mind, I wish I know, I can see the future and know when and how it's going to happen. But I mean, you can't say much because no matter what you do, we have prevalent cases about them dying at a younger age. My husband is 47 and still counting. I'm hoping he will grow more and more. I wish he could, the thought of it alone is a bit scary, but we are there. Yeah, we are still keeping a good eye. We are still keeping a good eye. I want to say, don't get it twisted. You might even die before I do. By you wait. I'm optimistic that he's going to grow. He's going to live long, for some time.
Okay.
Whatever happens, we give the glory to God. We are there.
Mr. Samuel.
That is a heavy question, but I will say this as we are talking about marriage, relationship, and sickle cell. This is my take on this question. Marriage came as an institution from God. So I personally believe that whether my partner is living with sickle cell or not, that age that God has given to her before she departs from this earth, she will attain. And that is my belief. And for that reason, whenever that question flashed through my mind, I don't have that anxiety. I just fall back to the word of God and I move on.
Thank you. Madonna.
Yes. On a more serious note, I do get anxious sometimes as to the fact that I may lose him at an early stage.
Yeah.
But what I do is I just tell myself that death is inevitable.
Yeah.
One, I may die before him, and there are other kids who are not SS who have died. So I just console myself with those things. And then I also get to a stage where there are people who are living with SCD and they are 40 plus, 50, 60, 70, even 80. So
Yeah.
those are the examples I use to console myself. But there are times that it gets so difficult. I weep. Yes, I weep that I may lose him. But I just get back to myself, and then I move on, because there are kids who are not SCD and they die even younger than his age. So I just take it like as one of those. Yeah.
Dr. Ikea.
I did for you. I did. So for me, it's deep. Like I think everybody else is saying, it's deep, you know. Personally, my life has been very difficult. My life has been very challenging. And the presence of death has been in my life for a long time. And so to think that now I'd be married and faced with that, I'll be very honest, it's very hard, right? Because I'm like, God, are you serious? And I'm just gonna say it. I'm just gonna say it. Like, Lord, the man you have for me, who is a wonderful man, who is my soul, as they say, soulmate. This is what he comes with, and there's it's a stark reality that smacks you in your face that he may go before you feel like you fully lived with him, right? And for me, I got married when I was much older. I got married when I was 40. And so to think that, and love is not something you can force to happen.
Yeah.
If it comes, it comes. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So it's not like I can say, oh, this man, you should have been here when I was 29. That's not, I can't say that. It's God who has allowed this to happen in the time it has happened. And so I had to face that really stark reality, and I got sad and I was like, God, are you serious? This man is amazing. Would you really just not allow him to live? And then for us to live? Is this what we're doing? God Most High? And I'm not gonna lie. I get angry and I get upset and I get sad, right? And then after it all, I say, the only thing I can do is eat this marriage like I'm sucking on bone. You know how people suck on. Like, this is how I have to enjoy this marriage. I have to enjoy every single bit of this marriage. I have to enjoy being with this man. I literally have to suck the life out of this marriage and be present and enjoy it for everything, because tomorrow is not promised. And in that way, it makes me much more involved and engaged. And like, I want to be excited and I want to be intense with everything I do, because I don't know if I have tomorrow.
Okay, thank you. And from Mr. Ponsa, his question is, so are there moments in your relationship when you just thrown your hands in the air and say, now, dear, enough is enough?
Yes, many times, hundreds of times. You're dealing with another person. You're dealing with their issues, and you're dealing with your issues. Charlie, you just be like, oh, wait there, my bruh. I'm just tired, And when that happens, you acknowledge your humanity and you go, yeah, I'm gonna get tired.
Yeah.
But it's never oh, this is completely over. Even if you're thinking like, could this be over? Is this not gonna work out? There's still this part of you that has the hope and the belief that it'll be okay if we can just hold on, if we can work it out So absolutely, you have that. But you also need to remember why you got married in the first place.
You have any suggestion? Okay. This to our panelists from Facebook. What are some of the challenges you encounter with your caregiver role versus wife relationship or husband relationship? Mr. Samuel.
Okay, so with this, there are a lot of challenges that come. And sometimes the challenge becomes so difficult to bear if you know the pain and you feeling the pain that your wife goes through, your husband goes through. And let's say you are administering medicine, you are administering something to ease the pain, to support such an individual. And this individual said, no, I'm not going that way. Sometimes you don't know where to pass or what to even do because you feel the pain, you understand what he or she is going through. Sometimes when they are going through the pain, the stress, the agony, it breaks your heart. So, okay, this is the way I want to help. And he or she said, no, that is one of the challenges. And all these things have to boil down to the point of you understanding that individual. Letting all storm calm down, then understanding why he's saying no, and from there, you take it up from there.
Captain.
Yeah, I'm here.
Kindly
Yes,
answer that for us.
question. Yes, there are challenges. There are challenges, a lot of them. Even though I work in a hospital, I still face them. At a point in time, I turned my bedroom into a mini clinic where I used to do a lot of administration of medications, setting of IV lines, putting on fluids for my husband, dressing of wounds and all that. But at a point in time, can you imagine? He's making a slap me. Oh, this man. So the challenge comes a lot when you know he's suffering and you are suggesting his medications to him, and he's tired of taking those medications for so long a time that he doesn't want to. He's in pain. He doesn't want to take the medication. At times I have to call his parents in. I call his brothers in. I call his friends in. Talk to him. Let him take this medication for me. I beg. No, he can go the chemist. He wouldn't take, that thing. So it's a lot. Come and see.
Aye.
Wait, let me show your face.
Okay. Okay. I think someone has a suggestion. Tonya, kindly unmute and then.
Okay. Hi, good evening.
Good evening, Sylvia.
I'm Sylvia. I'm actually Captain's friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to make a few suggestions or contribution. I'm a psychiatric nurse.
Okay.
Haven't listened to all these. I just want to add one or two things to it. So the first one is caring for the caregiver. Most of the time, caregivers, in this case, those of us caring for our spouses, our children, our loved ones, we end up forgetting about ourselves. We go all out to love them, care for them, go the extra mile, make sure they are very comfortable and they are doing well, but we end up forgetting about ourselves. In this case, we have so many responsibilities. We have the task of, general marriage responsibilities. We have the task of stresses from work, and we also have caring for our special ones. So we need to get to that point where we know our limits. You need to know when you've hit that point where you need I'll call it a me time, a time where you need to pause and then distress, if there's a word like that. Sometimes you can find things that will make the whole marriage thing quite exciting. You can plan a vacation. You can have maybe a day in a week where you have dinners or you have lunch together. You find something exciting to do that will make the two of you happy. When it gets to that point where you think you can't also take it or you feel you are too stressed, I would also kindly suggest that you seek a professional help. Maybe see a counselor, talk to the person, because truth be told, there's a lot going on here. Sometimes you just need to talk to somebody. Sometimes you just need to cry it out. You just want to pour something out. And these things you can't go telling your loved ones who are in the situation, those you are caring for. So sometimes you need to seek for professional help. The other point is emotional breakdowns of our special ones that we care for. There are people who want to do things for themselves, go all out and do things that they really want to do for themselves. But it's because of the condition, we end up giving them certain limits, not because we want to, but because they need to get those limits. We have to be very cautious and careful not to bruise their ego, not to get to that point where they feel shattered. They feel, I mean, especially when they are husbands and fathers, men have their own ego. It comes with them naturally. So with your efforts or your intention to want to care for them and go that extra mile for them, if we are not careful, we'll end up bruising their egos, and then we'll go a long way to affect the whole care and even the whole marriage thing. That's the little thing I also want to contribute. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for your contribution.
So-
From Eunice, she said, are there circumstances?
Madam, hello. Can I answer the question too about challenges?
Sorry?
I said the question about challenges.
Okay.
Yeah. Just I think one of the biggest ones is, as a woman who has had to bear the burden of everything all my life, when you meet that person, when you meet your husband, there's a part of you that says, oh, finally, I can put my superwoman cape down. I don't have to lean on myself anymore. I can depend on him. And for me, one of the greatest challenges was the fact that because of the sickle cell, there are times when he is not able to comfort me. There are times when he is not able to be fully present and fully engaged. And that is very, very hard, because you want to be able to kind of lean on him, and then he doesn't have the bandwidth or the capacity or wherewithal for you to be able to depend on him and drop that cape. And that is a major, challenge, as well as dealing with how his pain and how the sickle cell has affected him in a way that negatively impacts our marriage, because there are ways that sickle cell does that. And so those are two really heavy and big challenges in trying to navigate this space.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much. I think our time is fast spent, but I want us to answer the last two questions and then we would end the session for today. Are there circumstances where a sickle cell patient feels should never get involved, get loved because she's a sickle cell patient, he or she is a sickle cell patient? I don't think any of our panelists is a sickle cell patient, but from my perception, I don't think it is a problem. But some people feel that if you are living with a condition, they can't be in a relationship with you or they can't love you. So it all depends on the person that you are getting involved with. So that's the answer I'll give to you from my point of view. So our next question is, at what point do you tell someone or ask someone their genotype? Please, this is for my panelists.
Oh, okay. So just real quick, I didn't even talk about genotype. Here in the States, it's not like Ghana, where like that's a conversation because there's so many people who have sickle cell. So it never actually entered my mind until we were dating, and he actually said to me, he actually said to me, "Oh, I have sickle cell," and I said, "Okay," because to me, I'm a physician, so sickle cell is just another illness. It's just another condition. And secondly, I was born in GH and I was brought here when I was very young. So the experiences and the concept of sickle cell that people have in Ghana, I never had that. So I have no problem with him telling me that he had sickle cell. That just meant there were certain things we would have to deal with that other relationships wouldn't have to deal with. And it was not like I wasn't upset or distressed about it at all, to be honest.
Please, if someone has any other suggestion or any contributions to make.
Yes, Madonna here.
Okay.
I think to avoid disappointments or having a CD child is very important too. From the talking stage or from the beginning of your conversation, you ask the person of their genotype. It's very important. To me, it's very, very important to ask from the beginning of the friendship, even before you fall in love or whatever. Otherwise, you may end up being disappointed because the person might be AS, you are AS, and you can't end up together, or you are SS, you are hiding it. No, just let the person know this is who I am. What are you? So that if the person wants to love you for whoever you are, the person would love you. That's what I have to say.
Okay, so what would you have, or what do you have to tell someone who is depressed because they are the person is living with sickle cell disease and they are always disappointment because some men immediately you tell them that we are living with this condition, they are like, oh, but then mean to me they are refunds now, or I can't bear this burden or something. So what do you have to tell persons living with that condition?
It's a matter of time. Just love yourself. Keep loving yourself. Keep building yourself up. Keep working on yourself. It's just a matter of time, and your own gentleman will find you. You don't have to rush things or let someone's comments bring you down or break you down. Just keep loving yourself first. Work on yourself, and then before you know it, your perfect gentleman will come along.
I would say it is what it is, right? And it's going to be disappointing. And also, like Madonna was saying, loving yourself and learning yourself and bettering yourself. Because to be very frank, as me, I'm a big girl, and in this here United States, there's a certain physique, there's a certain look that men want. And I was constantly being passed over because I was big. And I don't have sickle cell, but it was a form of ostracization, right? And I was like, well, I don't know if there'll ever be somebody in my life who will love me as I am, and yet I still kept living. There were disappointments, and yet I kept living. And I believed if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. And if it doesn't, that doesn't mean my life is less than.
Okay, thank you very much for joining today. Okay, I think there's a last question. Is premarital counseling provided and well received in Africa?
I think it depends on the church or your is it religion? Where you church? So for premarital counseling, I know most churches are involved. I mean, they do that. You go for testing and all that to know your genotype before they bless the marriage. If you two cannot be joined together because of that, they counsel you and then take you through some season or some series of education before they go ahead with the marriage and all that. So I think it's going down well. The education might not be too much though, but now a lot of sensitization is being put out there for people to understand. And I think somebody asked the question when to ask of the genotype. I think beginning of every relationship, you should know. You yourself should know your genotype. Know whether you're a carrier or not, or know whether you have sickle cell or not. And then immediately you meet somebody who shows interest. You ask the person right away so that you don't get so much involved. And then later you come back crying because the two of you cannot marry or something. So I think it's important we do that. We are still out there trying to educate people on everything and then helping people out, So we are trying our best, and I believe the education should go as far as it can so that we will be able to minimize cases like that. That's what I have to say.
Okay, thank you all very much for today's session. It has been very, very, very insightful and educative. Before I forget, hopefully next week, Saturday, exactly 6 p.m., we'll be having our exactly 9 a.m. in the morning. We'll be having our annual mentorship program that we always do to educate persons living with sickle cell disease, their caregivers, and anyone who wants to learn more about sickle cell disease. So we'll be talking about stigmatization, career guidance, everything, living with sickle cell disease.
Yeah.
So hopefully I'll invite everyone here that hopefully Saturday, 9 a.m., join us whilst we learn more about sickle cell disease. Thank you, and God bless all of you for joining us. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.